Welcome to the Broadnax Information Technology Center. Now, you're probably going to say, this isn't the Broadnax Information Technology Center. You're right, it's not. It is a remote branch located on the campus of University of Cincinnati in Stratford Heights, Building 17, Room 201. So, there is a full link between this and Central, which is at my home, and I might be demonstrating that soon. However, right now I have some things in my dorm room here that are pretty insane and awesome. So let's see, this is my late 2013 MacBook Pro with Yosemite on it, of course, and wireless keyboard, wireless mouse, hardwired keyboard, wireless trackpad. So I'm very versatile with that. Got an Apple TV up on the shelf there, and you can see it's up there. Old school DVD player. I've got speakers that are wired into the TV, and will also wire into the Apple TV. You see I've got Thunderbolt Ethernet wired in, and power USB, HDMI to the TV directly. And you see the Thunderbolt Ethernet goes up the wall here. Up the wall. This is the FireWire cord to hook up the camera I'm using right now, but it goes into the other Thunderbolt there. Goes up here, kind of loops around up there, gets hooked around that little hook in the ceiling, and then comes up to up there, which you see I have an Apple Airport Extreme with all three Ethernet ports in use. Two of which going up over here, one for the Apple TV and one for the MacBook. And the third one goes down to the desk down here, and the USB port hooks up my Canon Pixma IP2702, which can be print to from either here locally or from the BITeC center. I can print up to here as well, which is pretty nice. Now I have two 1998 edition iBook G3s, and they both run macOS 9.2.2. Tangerine one and the blueberry one. Tangerine one's got a bit of a screen problem. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it does have a orange tint on the screen when you first turn it on. Alright. Yeah.
Presentation now? Or?
Presentation, yes. This is my roommate Obi. Also a member of BITeC.
Part of the business for a while.
Okay.
I'm interested.
And we can see that if you keep going up here, we've got an Apple Airport Express hooked up to two other speakers, which are used as rear speakers. I've got my piano and my guitar here. The piano is wired in using the M box to my MacBook, and I can record and play back out using Logic Pro, but that's just something I do in my spare time. The first thing I wanted to show was the fact that every device in here can print. And before I can continue, I've got to say all the devices I have. This is a first generation iPad mini. It runs iOS 8.1. And let me just clear all these notifications off of here so I can show the screen. Alright. You notice I have everything set to the same background. Let me turn the screen brightness up on this thing here. I don't know why it chose that background. I just did. I have everything set to the same background. My iPad mini, first generation. iPod Touch, 5th generation, which of course, whenever plugged into the charger, it constantly crashes and reboots, so that's why the Wi-Fi doesn't work, and that's why it's taking so long to process me and the code here. I'll let that sit for me. Oh, there we go. Also running iOS 8.1. If you come along the floor here, we've got iPhone 4 running iOS 7.1.2, which is its maximum. And next to it, we've got an iPhone 4S running 8.1. And we have an iPad 3rd generation. Let me clear these notifications really fast. iPad 3rd generation running iOS 8.1, and an iPad 4th generation also running iOS 8.1. And yep, clear all these notifications out first here. Alright, so let me just grab my phone from up here. This is my iPhone 5S. I'm soon getting it replaced because you cannot talk on it. You have to talk on speakerphone, but it also has 8.1 on it. And I like it. It's pretty cool. Battery doesn't last really well, but what else is new? It's an older iPhone running a new system. That's how it's going to be, I guess. So I also have 3 virtual machines that I use that are all tied to the BITeC Center, which is part of what I'm going to show, that these can all communicate. I've got one running Windows XP, one running Windows 7, and one running Windows 10 Beta. So let me show you XP really fast. Let me adjust our colors here. Let me zoom out a little, turn the brightness down a little bit. Ooh, that's way too far. So if we can get into there, you can see it's the same message that we always have when we log on to a BITeC computer. And let me just do a local logon, because if you do a domain logon, it could take up to 30 minutes to process. So I'm just going to locally log on here. So you see, I don't know if you can see it from here, but I've got what's called Parallels Mac Look, which makes Windows XP, Vista, and 7 act like Mac. And it's pretty cool because you can see the icons are all changed. And if you look at like a normal Explorer window, the close buttons are actually on the left, which is pretty nice. Doesn't really do an effect that someone would see as anything different unless you were to put Parallels into continuity mode. Excuse me, not continuity mode, coherence mode. And then what that would do is it's running in the background now. You'll see, now you've got your Windows, your Explorer windows on the Mac desktop, and if you hit the minimize button, coherence will use the Genie effect, which is pretty nice. C drive, there's an image on there, it's the logon image, I believe. Driver for the BITeC printer, yeah. Close that there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out of coherence because I like to have it where it's the full thing, and I just put it back into coherence for I don't know what reason. You just pull it back out. Full screen. There we go. Alright, so we can scroll to the right here, and that's my Windows 7 machine. They're all joined via Neo Router remote system to center. I don't even think I ever activated this. I gotta give it the product key. I'll do that later after this video probably. And over here we've got Windows 10, which Windows 10, I don't know if many of you guys have seen it. Let me just check this really fast. Yeah. And see, Mac Look is also put onto Windows 7. I don't have a working copy of Windows 8 because my COA is at headquarters and it's not here with me. So I don't want to install it and just have it not activate. There's no point. Next time I get a chance to run out to headquarters, I'll probably grab the COA. Windows 10, so basically 8, 8.1 and Windows 10 do not support the Mac Look. So it's classic. And this looks almost like Windows 8 right now, but there's some changes. I don't know who is and who has not heard of them. And we'll just show those. We'll show a few of these right now. That's the Windows 10 default desktop. Parallels obviously updated itself successfully. So usually the start menu would bring it something full screen, unless one had classic shell, which would return to the old school start menu. But here's the default Windows 10 start menu. Yes, it is like that. It brings back some of the parts of Windows 7, and it has parts of Windows 8 as well. So I think that hybrid start menu is a really good idea. You guys can let me know what you think. All apps, just pulls it up like that. Office 2013, which that is the university's copy of Office 2013. Runs pretty well. There's not really many bugs with 10 that I've noticed so far. I have to empty the trash can, obviously. Yeah. So yeah, let's see. The log off button is, you click on username, hit sign out, and there we are back at that. Again, with Windows 7, MacLook also works. You can see it kind of looks a little bit different, but it's still the kind of carbonized, aquanized, if you will, start menu. And the Windows with the Mac icons there, and that from Windows 7, but it's kind of been aquanized, if you will. I don't know what the proper term is. So if we put Windows 7 into coherence, let's see what it does. You can't do it because I have shared applications disabled, so I'll probably enable that later. It just takes a long time to enable it. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and, ooh, I've got updates I gotta do. Wow. Alright, I'll run those right now. Let's see, does this have updates available? No. Log off admin. For some reason the battery gauge doesn't work that well on XP, because it says there was XP thinks the computer is halfway charged, where if you actually look at the computer, it is fully charged. So it's probably a driver error, making the XP show the battery is half full, but it's not going to affect anything because I'm plugged up. Just rebooting Windows 7 so that the updates come complete. I'll put it away for right now. Now, another thing I'd like to mention is that every device in this room can print to that printer. So, say I wanted to open up Word here. Word document. Let's see. Let's make this font a bit bigger here. Test. Printer. I'll make it a bit smaller so it's on one line there. There we go. Just give it a few lines down. And now, file print. I've got two options to print to here. One would be the Canon IP2700 series, which is right there. And I've got OfficeJet Pro 8600, which I cannot access from this machine because this machine refuses to connect to Neo router and stay connected to the school's network at the same time. So the only way to print to the OfficeJet is to print through one of the virtual machines. So I'm just going to send it to the Canon right here. I'll close that. I don't need to save it. So yeah, it works like a normal printer. Get all this crap off of here. So yeah, it works pretty well. Now the interesting thing is, you could print from both of these guys as well to that printer. And you may be asking me how, because Canon did not make a driver for OS 9 for this. But I will show you that if you look in the chooser, that there it is right there. Canon IP2700 series. You may ask me how I did that, and I'll show you how I did that. But it requires me to go back over to this Mac. So you may have been realizing that there are 4 Windows flag icons here. XP, 7, 10. What's the one over here? It is Windows Server 2003. And why do I have a Windows Server 2003 machine? Because it acts as a print server. Not only is it joined to the BITeC network, it also acts as a print server for those older 2 Macs. So yes, and it's running right now, but I don't have it logged in because I don't need it to be logged in. But I can show you if I log into this thing. And I've got themes enabled on this so that it looks like XP when you run it. I'll show you that the printer is hooked up I have the Bonjour printer drivers from Apple on here, and that reads from the airport. But I found out there was an error from that driver, so what I have to do instead is I use Parallel's printer connector tool, which tells the Windows Server or any of the machines I want to be able to use the Max printers. So looks like we have a server outage at BITeC Center. I might deal with that later. Sometimes it just acts like this. I don't know. But anyway, if you look inside devices, or not devices, printers and faxes on this old system, should be in control panel. Printers and faxes, and you see that OfficeJet Pro, which is the printer at the center, on 10.0.0.2, which is a BITeC server IP address. I'm not going to be able to get to that now because you can see in the corner here that we are, we need to focus that we have our VPN disconnected. So I'll have to figure out why it's doing that. Here's our Canon printer right here, which this pulls it directly from the host through Parallels. And what that does is when you send something to this printer, it basically prints it through the Max printer, which is the Canon. Now, so you see that it's shared. And if you look here under, let's see if we can go add and remove programs, add and remove Windows components. I'll show you that there is file and printer services for Macintosh installed. You cannot use it with, you cannot use the file services with OS 9 because in order to use file services with OS 9 you need to have Windows 2000 Advanced Server, which I do have a copy of, but I don't want to install it. So I just checked other file and print services, other network file and print services, and make sure file services for Macintosh and printer services for Macintosh. Ooh, that's interesting. We just came back online, looks like. Yep. So that's good. Our network is back up. I bet it was just an IP address screw up at the center. So that's been installed. So that puts any printer I have on here that is shared inside the chooser for the old Macs. So yeah, and I've got 9.2.2 running on both of those. Let's just log off of this right now and swipe to the main screen there. So let's have a look at these. This Tangerine iBook G3 has 64 megabytes of RAM. Not enough to run OS 10, but it's enough to run OS 9. This Blueberry iBook G3, same year, has 128 megabytes of RAM. You can just barely get away to run macOS Panther 10.3 on here. It is very slow, so I decided to put just OS 9 on both of them and make them look exactly the same with the backgrounds as everything else and have the same icons on each one, but I just keep it in sync manually myself. So let's just open up a program that I'm sure everybody's missed for a long time. AppleWorks. I could get Microsoft Office, but it would have to be Office 2001, which is ancient. And if I could find a copy of that to put on here. Actually, you know, I do have a copy of it for here, but I have to find where I put it. I think the CD for Office 2001 is at home. Then I could have Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Entourage on these guys. The thing is, I wouldn't want to put it on there because these guys, their hard drive size is 6 gigabytes. I have a flash drive that's way bigger than that. But anyway, that's how big the hard drives in these things are. I'd like to get an upgrade, but I don't have the cash flow for that right now. So AppleWorks works just fine. I used it back when I was in elementary school. I like it. I love it because it's awesome. So let's just show you that Test printer. Written in Helvetica this time instead of in Times New Roman like it was on Word. Command P. And I could either print it to the Mac desktop, which is that one right there. And what happens would show up as a PDF on that desktop up there. Or I could print it to the Canon. And both the print to PDF Mac desktop and the Canon go through that Windows server and then print to the local Mac's driver. So if I brought that Mac somewhere, these would not be able to print. Unless the Mac was hooked up with Wi-Fi to the Airport Extreme, which I could say on campus, there's not many places you can hook up to my Wi-Fi except for right in this room and around the house, very rarely. So I can show you that when you hit the print button here, it prints it, and if you look over here, you'll see the print spooler start up by itself. There it is, and then it prints out. I'm not going to demonstrate on the other one because it works exactly the same way. You see it's in the same font there. So that does work. I can also print from any of those Windows machines that I have running on there. I don't need to save it. Alright, now the cool thing I wanted to demonstrate is, and like I said, my iPod will always keep crashing because when it's plugged in it just always crashes, so I just take it with me sometimes in the day and it won't crash at all, but I don't mind it anymore like I used to. Geez, it's 23:04 already. Wow, it's late. Just put the iPhone up there. What I wanted to show you is, here's something I really like here. So it's my iPad 3rd generation. You just unlock it really fast. And there's an application I have on all of my iOS devices, even the iPhone 4, and it's called PCL Pro, I believe. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is, Print Central. But I like that, but I call it PCL Pro because that's the old one. Yeah, give me a notification. Okay, so let's see, files maybe. I'll just print a copy of the quick start guide. So if you look at this, we can hit the print button here on the top. It finds the Canon, which is not going to work because I know why. The print server is not running on this Mac, which is one thing I don't like. I wanted to set it up so that the print server runs on the Windows server here as well, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. In fact, you know what? I might just do that now. Let me do that really fast.